Where the place? Julie, let's go.
It's starting to be like the same thing over and over again.
I like
Hello everybody, welcome aboard the world famous Universal Studios tour. Watch your step, make sure you're sliding all the way over the right hand side using all available seats. If you wind up on the far left, right next to the gates, just be aware of those gates when they shut. Watch your left side when the gates come down. If you have little kids with you that are so little their feet do not touch the floor of the tram, they need to sit in the center of the row, away from the outside gates. That's for their safety. And everybody needs 3D glasses for the tour. If you did not pick up 3D glasses before you got on board, you need to raise your hand and keep your hand up in the air so we can find you and then bring you 3D glasses before we go. You don't need to wear the glasses yet. I'll tell you when it's time to put them on. They're just for one part of the tour, King Kong 360 3D. The tour is going to be about 45 minutes to an hour in length. We're going to leave the theme park and visit a real film and television studio on a pretty busy day. I'm your tour guide for the tour. I'm CJ. Hi, everybody. Hi. Hello. Hi. Welcome aboard. We're going to get going in just a bit. We're going to visit again a very busy studio. The Universal lot is home to a lot of TV shows. The Voice just wrapped up season 27 in one of our big Backlot sound stages. Today, the Peacock streaming series Bel Air is doing some filming. We're also home to the Emmy Award-winning comedy series Hacks and a brand new show that will stream on Peacock called The Burbs. The Burbs is going to star Emmy winner and national treasure Keke Palmer. They've been filming it on the former Wisteria Lane of Desperate Housewives fame. They're not filming out there today, but we can see a little bit of their production setup that's been going on. If we get really close to an area of active filming during this tour, I'll have to jump off the microphone so we don't disrupt the filming. That's called a quiet zone. And the quiet is just me. I have to be quiet. You can all keep talking, unless you brought a microphone that's strapped to your face like mine is. So if we have a quiet zone, it'll probably be like abrupt, because I'll be surprised. And then you'll see this graphic on your screen after I fall silent. It says quiet please filming in progress. So if it happens, it's just a quiet zone. We'll see how it goes, if we get one or not. Is anyone doing the studio tour for the first time today? Oh, lots of first timers. Wonderful. Welcome. Welcome back to the returning veterans of the tour. Thanks for coming back. If you've done this before, we appreciate it. Have anybody celebrating a birthday with us today? I don't see any hands. birthdays. Oh, there's got to be at least one. Okay, there we go. There's some birthdays. I had to jog your memory. It is your birthday. Happy birthday if it's your birthday. Oh, brother. Anybody just pretending like it's their birthday for attention? Hi, happy fake birthday to all the liars. That's fine. Anybody celebrating a graduation? I know it's like grad season. Oh, a bunch of people in car too. Happy graduation. Congrats to you. The last thing I graduated from was tour guide school. I got an A in fun facts, F in segues. My segues are terrible. And I got like a B in a symposium called How to Sit Backwards on a Large Moving Vehicle with Confidence. So I did okay overall. One more time, that you do need 3D glasses for this tour for King Kong 360 3D. We'll tell you when it's time to put them on, but if you did not pick up 3D glasses before you got on board, you need to raise your hand now so we can make a see before we go. Let's see the hands, so it looks like we're all good on that. Last year, the studio tour celebrated its 60th anniversary. The tour started in 1964. And this summer, we got two big Universal movies celebrating important anniversaries. One of our biggest movies of all time at Universal is celebrating its 40th anniversary in July. If you want to guess, I'll give you a clue. Here's a musical clue.
40th anniversary.
40th anniversary.
What movie?
Back to the Future.
Movie Part 1.
Part 1.
The Simpsons. That might be celebrating anniversary, but I'm talking about a Universal film. Has anybody in car one seen a movie called Back to the Future? Okay, this is Alan Silvestri's soundtrack. Oh my goodness. Gotta give Alan some love. Yeah, Back to the Future turns 40. And in June, the first ever summer blockbuster that was a Universal film, just happened to be a Universal film, celebrates its 50th anniversary. This is an even trickier one to guess. I'm going to play the original teaser trailer for this movie. It's very subtle. Let's see if you can guess what movie I'm talking about.
There is a creature alive today
Oh yeah, you got it, Jaws.
that survived millions of years of evolution without change, without passion, and without logic.
So far, it's just describing me. All right, let's wave bye-bye to the theme park. And let's meet my co-host for the tour. He's the host of The Tonight Show. It's Jimmy Fallon.
Oh, hey there. You made it. Welcome to the Universal Studio Tour. I'm Jimmy Fallon. I'll be making sure that you get through this experience in one piece. You've got the very best guide.
Her name is CJ.
And the greatest driver.
His name is Eric.
They're the best. I love them. Even though
CJ.
both me $5. I know you guys are excited to get on the tour, but first, a few safety rules.
Safety rules. Here we go. First, if you need guest assistance during the tour, like if you have a medical emergency, if you drop something of value off the side of the tram, or if you have any sound or video issues, you're going to need to reach up and pull the red emergency cord. It runs along the center of the ceiling of the tram, and I'll come back and assist you as soon as it's safe for me to do so. Otherwise, during the entire tour, please stay seated with your arms and legs inside the vehicle at all times. The studio is private property, so if at any point during the tour you drop your phone or just can't wait to use the restroom, pull the cord and remain seated. Please no smoking or vaping of any kind during the tour, and be prepared. The tour is going to feature loud noises, fire effects, and many water effects, so you may get wet. And the tour is going to feature sudden tram movements, so secure your personal belongings and hold on. Finally, for your safety and the safety of those around you, please do not use selfie sticks during the tour. That is it for the rules. And look to the left, you can see a roller coaster under construction. That's going to open next year's Fast and Furious Hollywood Drift. We've officially left the theme park behind, but we're still really close to it, close enough that we can see a roller coaster being built. But we're cruising down the Universal timeline. This road has posters represent just a few of the thousands of movies we've made over the years, from David and Pythias to the Oscar-winning Oppenheimer. The timeline's going to take us into the part of our studio where we've been making movies for over a century. Entering the front lot of our studio. The front lot is where we keep most of our sound stages, and it's always a busy place on a working day like today. The front lot is where most of the filming happens, because most filming happens at sound stages. They're big soundproof boxes. On the outside, they look like warehouses, like stage 12 on the left. On the inside, a soundstage like that one could be turned into something like Whoville and How the Grinch Stole Christmas. In fact, it was for that movie. The director Ron Howard filmed a lot of the Whoville scenes in stage 12. Parts of the climactic finale to Back to the Future filmed there as well. Lately, though, our Frontline soundstage has been really dominated by TV shows. TV shows like the GLAAD Award-winning revival of Saved by the Bell, Grand Crew with Nicole Byer, and the Emmy Award-winning comedy series Hacks have all been filming here recently. The door to stage 11 on the left is open, blinking a miss it, but it's always cool when a soundstage door is open and get a chance to peek inside. Stages 8 and 7, coming up at the end of the block on the left, are currently home to the Peacock streaming series Bel Air. It's a dramatic reimagining of The Fresh Prince of Bel Air. It stars Jabari Banks and Grammy winner Coco Jones. And they are filming for Bel Air today in stage 8. But they're not filming right this second, so we don't need to make it a quiet zone. Stages 8 and 7, we're also home to the NBC comedy series Superstore.
I know it's hot in here, but let's have some patience for one another.
Yeah, you know, the heat makes us all act.
Your face stays where it is.
Superstore starred America Ferrera. Did a lot of its filming in those two stages, 8 and 7, and also in stage 14 coming up on the left. Also, between our tram and stage 14, we have a lot of backstage area for Bel Air. We use trailers for things like hair and makeup for the actors, dressing rooms for the actors, storage for costumes and props, that kind of thing. We can also set up catering close to the filming area to make it as convenient as possible for everybody. Stage 14, behind the catering on the left, was also used in some big movies. In Jurassic Park, the scene where the Brachiosaurus sneezes on the kids filmed in there. And in Apollo 13, all of the NASA mission control scenes filmed in that stage. Inside a soundstage, you just get like a level of control you can't get in the real world. You control the sound in a soundstage, the time of day with your lighting, the weather, the temperature. It's fabulous. Stage 16, coming up next on your right, was home to a very funny show called Never Have I Ever, created by Mindy Kaling and starring my trainee Ramakrishnan. All 4 seasons of that show stream on Netflix. More recently, Stage 16 has been home to a show called Loot. The 3rd season of the show has been filming here. It stars Maya Rudolph of Saturday Night Live fame and MJ Rodriguez from the hit series Pose. So all these TV shows that have been filming here is very appropriate since over the decades, NBC and Universal together and separately have been responsible for some of the biggest hit TV shows of all time. Alright, just up ahead, there's a big building with posters on the outside of it for Wicked and The Voice. That's not a soundstage, that's a mill. So inside of it, really talented carpenters build the sets that then go into the sound stages or out to the backlot. So the front lot is like a one-stop shop for like every phase of production. We film things here. We also can handle pre-production elements. Pre-production is like everything you got to do before you start filming something, and building sets is part of pre-production. Also, reading scripts and casting happen on the front lot in our bungalows to the left. Those are offices for big production companies like Illumination Entertainment. They made the Despicable Me films and the Super Mario Brothers movie. Coming up on the left in front of one of our bungalows, you might spot a balloon with the logo for the musical Wicked on it. That is Mark Platt Productions. They're responsible for the
How to Train Your Dragon, the live-action movie.
That was such a big hit. It starred Cynthia Erivo, came out last November, and this past March won a couple of Academy Awards. Originally, though, these bungalows were built to be used as dressing rooms for big movie stars that worked here, like Doris Day, Rock Hudson, and Lucille Ball. They were like a fancy home away from home for the stars. I think calling them just dressing rooms is a little bit modest. You can like live there full time very comfortably. I would, but they won't let me. Past the bungalows on the left is stage 25. That was recently home to the sitcom Lopez versus Lopez. It's part of what they were building, though. There's 2 stages in the back, and the front part with the windows are writers' rooms and dressing rooms, so it's all connected. If you're an actor working one of those 2 stages, your dressing room is just steps away, so it's super convenient. Okay, so we've seen our very busy front lot. Now we're going to cross out into a pretty busy back lot. The back lot of our studio is where we keep all the big exterior sets. First up on the left, we're going to catch some glimpses of the metropolitan set area. It's where we have different city settings for filmmakers to choose from. The first city street on your left is currently getting all dressed up for Bel Air. They'll be filming there shortly. That street is meant to look like a New York City street. And we have a few areas of the metro sets themed to look like New York. We're going to see more of it in a moment. First, my co-host is going to talk about what it's like filming in the real New York.
Hey everyone, welcome to New York! I got my start right here in New York on Saturday Night Live. This is actually my old neighborhood. Once been mugged over there. An old woman. Tough lady. This is my favorite hot dog guy. Hey buddy, how's it going? Remember me? Just like old times. Gotta love New York City. Hey! I'm walking here! Yeah, it's cool guys. Just walking there. So it's not exactly New York, but a lot of times when you see New York in the movies, it was shot right here on the Universal Metro sets. If you can make it here, you can make it anywhere. Even if you make it here on the Universal lot.
Thank you, Jimmy. All right, we're going to round the corner and get a close-up look at some of these New York sets. You'll also see a little bit of England on the left. We have a painted backdrop modeled after a city in England called Bath. That's again coming up on the left. On the right, we've got a lot of our New York City sets in view. TV shows are filmed here like Brooklyn Nine-Nine, American Ninja Warrior, and the new comedy series St. Dennis Medical. Movies are filmed here too, like Hobbs and Shaw, Disney's Captain America, the First Avenger, and Paramount's Transformers. And again, if we look down some of these side streets coming up, you might see a little bit of set decoration, production work going on for Bel Air. When there's no filming on these sets, they're missing a lot of things that you would expect to see and kind of take for granted on a real city street. Things like benches, trash bins, bus stops, parking meters. If they're not there, then something seems off, right? If you're watching something on TV set on a city street with none of those elements. But on the right-hand side, you can see them. They're, again, things we take for granted, but that's part of the set decoration for Bel Air. A lot of our sets here are what we call facades. That's a type of set where we just build the front and the sides of the structure, just what the camera sees, and then the audience fills in the rest with their imagination. If a set also has an interior for filming inside and out, that's a practical set. We'll see a few good examples of practical sets a little later on in the tour. With facades, interior scenes have to be filmed at a different time in a soundstage usually. So we'll get one last look at the end of our New York street on the right, again with lots of set decoration going on. And on our screens, now we're going to hear from an Oscar-winning filmmaker named Peter Jackson.
It's the original King Kong that made me want to direct movies. I saw that
Like this is from the 2005 movie. It was 20 years ago.
I like films that just take you away from your real life. Sweet fun, Kong. As you're on board the ship, you're sailing to a lost island, you're encountering monsters and creatures from prehistoric times.
Alright, we're going to be experiencing King Kong in just a few moments, so please stay seated and please hold on tightly to all your personal belongings. If you drop an item in this attraction, I will not be able to retrieve it for you. because, you know, we throw them off the side of the train. Now on our screen, to get a behind-the-scenes look at how King Kong is project was. So the work of Weta Effects, that's a special effects company based in New Zealand. They've got 7 Oscars for their work on movies like the Lord of the Rings trilogy and King Kong. Inside the attraction, they have big mechanical arms that shake us in time to proceed. The screens are 40 feet tall, 180 feet long, so that is the highlight in the world. King Kong 360 3D opened as an attraction on the studio tour in June of 2010, so next month it turns 15. It's already been 15 years of King Kong 360 3D.
It's based on the 2005 film.
Backlot. First up on the left, we'll get a few more peeks at our Metropolitan sets. Sometimes the sets just play themselves
King
on screen.
Kong movie was released by Peter Jackson.
And you were born,
where
right?
Karen takes a Universal Studios tour. She's in disguise.
Anastasia Beaver has it. Just an ordinary tourist from the Midwest. New tour? What part? Mission. Soda, Wisconsin.
Yeah, so sometimes we don't have to dress up the sets in any particular way if they're just playing themselves. Will and Grace filmed their revival seasons in some of our frontlot sound stages, and they decided to incorporate the tour into an episode. It was very fun. So we're taking the long way around the backside of our Metro sets now, which is usually the route we take if there's a lot of filming in the Metro sets. People ask us a lot on the tour, what do you do on the tour if they're filming or getting ready to film in a certain area of the backlot? But then we don't drive through that area. We're not allowed to just plow into areas of active filming. As fun as it would be for us, it's too disruptive. We can't show up on camera, and we can't run over the camera. So those are kind of the basic rules. Up next on your right, though, we have a beautiful mural by graffiti artist Tristan Eaton. It honors the fact that Universal invented the monster movie genre. In case you didn't know, we invented a whole genre of film. It started in 1931 with the release of Dracula. So Dracula is one of several monster stars represented. We've also got the likes of the Bride of Frankenstein and the Wolfman. My favorite Universal monster is not included on the mural. My favorite is the Invisible Man. Although maybe he's there, but he's invisible. You never know. Next on your left, we'll see the home of The Voice. They just wrapped up filming for season 27 and stage 31. The logo is painted on the side of it, so pretty easy to spot. Season 26, The Voice featured Reba McEntire as one of the coaches. Her sitcom Happy's Place also filmed its first season on our lot in stage 33, just down the road on the left. Also, this little body of water coming up on the left has a very important connection to one of our monster movies. That was the Black Lagoon in Creature from the Black Lagoon. We're going to head into the Old West. Our western town is called 6 Points. It can be seen in classic westerns like Death Street Rides Again with Marlene Dietrich and My Little Chickadee with Mae West. And in more recent films like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood and Call of the Wild with Harrison Ford. The name 6 Points is actually an homage to our original silent film era western sets. They were made up of 6 different streets that radiated out from a central hub, kind of like the spokes on a wagon wheel. Oh, there's some real-life people on the left. That's fun. Feel free to stare at them. Make a lot of eye contact, make it weird. We've got TV shows filmed in 6 Points too, like Castle, Marvel's Agent Carter, and The Mindy Project, Quantum Leap, just name a few. And we've also used these sets for commercials. Actually, a big commercial for The Voice filmed here a few seasons back. All the coaches had like a standoff with each other. All right, from the Old West, we're going to head into Old Mexico. These sets can be seen in a couple of really big music videos. The video for Judas by Lady Gaga and Escapade by Janet Jackson, both filmed here. TV shows, big ones like Westworld for HBO and on Star Trek Picard for Paramount Plus, these sets were dressed up to look like a planet called Vashti. That's really elaborate set decoration. I talked earlier about adding things like parking meters and benches as set decoration. We can also get super fancy and elaborate and make our sets look like whole other planets. Old Mexico was also dressed up to look like Peru for a scene in Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. That was directed by a filmmaker that we have very deep connections to, Steven Spielberg.
My entire career began with my relationship with Universal Studios just as a high school kid on a tour bus. Remember, in those days, there weren't trams, there were buses called the Gray Line Tour Bus. And I was so excited and thrilled to be on the lot. It was my first time ever on a movie studio lot. And during a bathroom break, I hid in the bathroom. And when everybody left to get back on the bus, I waited another 15 minutes until I'm sure the bus left. And then I had the entire lot to myself that day. And in those days, movie lots were so crowded because all movies were made on film lots. Today they're made all over the world on locations, but most of it was focused in those days in the 60s on the film lots. So nobody noticed me when I was going around from soundstage to soundstage. And I felt in my own young way, I owned the lot and had the most amazing day of my life.
Yes, an adorable story in hindsight, but don't get any ideas. You can't get away with that kind of thing anymore. We actually named a road after Steven. We name all of our roads on the lot after Universal legends. Sometimes guests catch that on their own. But coming up on the left, you'll see our street sign that says Steven Spielberg Drive. It's actually the longest road on the backlot. It's where we spend the majority of the backlot portion of the tour. But we have roads named for people like Lon Chaney, Anna Mae Wong, Janet Leigh, so you can kind of keep your eyes peeled for those street signs. Steven Spielberg is actually the biggest celebrity sighting I've ever had as a tour guide. I was giving a tour a few years ago, and I was telling some story about him, and I was literally saying his name in the context of whatever story I was telling, and I glanced to my right.
A few minutes later.
To make a stop here in the late 50s, early 60s. That kind of was one of the inspirations for Universal to just start their own modern in-house tour, which again began over 60 years ago. And over the years, among other things, our trams have become pretty famous in their own right. Take a look at these tram cameos we've had. Those red and white candy striped trams were the original ones that premiered with the tour in 1964. Back then they were called glamour trams.
It's a studio tour.
Actually, that tour guide reminded me it's time for a safety reminder. I want to remind everyone to stay seated during the entire tour. Again, this is private property, so if you drop your phone or just can't wait to use the restroom, pull the red cord to get my attention, and I'll be back to assist you as soon as it's safe for me to do so, but do remain seated on the tram. Now, off to the left, you may have already noticed we're looking at kind of the back side of our Western sets. That's again called 6 points. I think I mentioned briefly earlier that in the silent film era, we had 6 different Western streets for filming. You could make 6 different Westerns at that point at the same time, because these were silent films, so there was no issue with sound interference. Also back then, if you were a member of the public, you could come onto the lot and watch those silent Western movies as they were being made. So we first opened this property on March 15th, 1915 as Universal City, a real city dedicated solely to movie making. Here's some photos on our screens of opening day. There's our company founder, Carl Lemley, waving his hat around. And from day one, we invited in the public. In those days, if you were a member of the public, you could just walk in. Admission price was 25 cents. For a quarter, you got a boxed lunch, and then you got to watch silent movies as they were being filmed. You were encouraged to make noise. You were encouraged to cheer for the actors. It helped get them into character, get them excited about their performance. With the advent of sound film in the late 1920s and the need for quiet on the set, we had to close up shop. We could no longer do that version of the tour. But then again, in 1964, we were able to bring the public back in and have things like quiet zones so we don't disrupt modern day filming techniques. But back then, if you remember the public coming onto the lot in the silent film era to tour Universal City, in terms of the movies you would have been seeing, you would have probably been seeing Westerns. And we do still have some Westerns that film in our Western sets. Certainly back in like the 40s, 50s, 60s, that was kind of the heyday of them. So we've had a lot of barroom brawls in our Western sets over the years. Take a look.
You're just gonna stir things up here. That I am.
Now, one of the 2 cowboys lying in the street there in that shot is actor Bruce Dern, father of Academy Award-winning queen Laura Dern. I just like referencing Laura Dern on my tour. So yeah, a lot of barroom brawls and 6 points, but non-Westerns can film there too. My favorite example of a non-Western filming our Western sets was a Disney live-action movie called 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. This was a sci-fi adventure movie in 1954, but they used our Western sets for the opening scenes in the film. 6 Points was dressed up to look like a seaport in San Francisco. All right, looks like we're moving along. Coming up on the left, we have the Hollywood Ocean. I mentioned earlier this was the Black Lagoon and Creature from the Black Lagoon. The official name, though, is the Hollywood Ocean for this little human-made lake. It did used to double for the ocean on the big screen pretty frequently. Up next, we're going to get a brief look on your left as we round the corner at Little Europe, so called because these sets often double for different European countries. Today we have a top secret production getting ready to film in the area, but more importantly, our Goose family is hanging out on the left-hand side. So a few weeks ago, our goose friends that live on the back lot gave birth to some goslings, and they're growing up so fast, but they love hanging out in front of Little Europe, grazing in the grass, as hopefully you can get a decent view of on the left-hand side. And again, those geese were hanging out in front of Little Europe. I mentioned a top secret production. They're not filming just yet. If they were, this would be a quiet zone. We're super close to those sets. But when productions film on the lot, they don't have to give out their titles if they don't want to. They can keep it secret. They can release a fake title if they want to try to throw people off the track. And it's like a highly anticipated production. But Little Europe, I think, more recently, in its recent history, is best known as The Afterlife in the NBC comedy series The Good Place.
You, Eleanor Shellstrop, are dead.
Cool.
This location, the afterlife, come on. I have never ever seen this.
All right, on that note, we have clearance to drive right through a sound stage. This is stage 50. The entrance is bumpy, so please stay seated and please hold on to your personal belongings. So there's no filming in here today, but there is a fully dressed set that is accommodating to a train driving through it. It's a subway station set. I was just talking about fake titles. On the chalkboard on the left, I saw when we came in and said the production that's going to be filming in here is called Ticket Machine Heist. That sounds like a fake title to me. Just a guess. I can't say for sure. But whatever the production is, they're going to come in tomorrow to resume filming. They took off the holiday weekend, and they took off today, too. So this is a really cool example of a camera-ready set. There's even... Originally inspired by a movie called Earthquake. It was a big hit for us in 1974. The disaster movie genre was very popular in the 1970s. Again, the Western's a super popular genre for decades. We got one more look at our Western sets coming up on your right-hand side. But again, any genre can film there. Steven Spielberg's actually worked on our Western sets on a couple of his films, Amistad and The Color Purple with Whoopi Goldberg. Steven's first big hit movie was a Universal picture that, again, celebrates its 50th anniversary next month, Jaws. never watched this clip so far into it. But yeah, Jaws was the first summer blockbuster. Summer movie season was not a thing before Jaws came out. It was kind of considered a sleepy time at the box office. Jaws was actually meant to be released in theaters in late 1974 during the holiday season, which was a proven big time of year at the box office. But production delays, they had a lot of trouble with the making of Jaws. It's very well documented. A lot of people are familiar with the fact that, the mechanical sharks didn't work well, among other things. So eventually, because of all the production delays, they had to push the release of Jaws to the summer, to June of 1975. So because of that, it became the first summer blockbuster, and suddenly studios started saying, oh, summertime might be a good time to release big movies. All right, and as we move along, we're going to pay a visit to the town from Jaws, Amity Island. So while we're here, if we're lucky, we might see a real-life shark, just like in Jaws. If we're really lucky, we might see a shark eat somebody. Fingers crossed. We'll have to wait and see, but please stay seated. Oh yeah, there's a shark out there right now. Yeah, it looks like there's a person in the water. There's a diving river. I think the shark is eating that guy. Yeah. That's fun. I'm glad we got to see that. It's like the circle of life. We're totally safe though from the shark. But just to be extra cautious, we're going to get behind these gasoline tanks. Shark's done scaring us, but in a moment, if you look back, the shark is going to swim backwards. And it's going to go back under the water to get ready to jump out and scare the next tram. Yeah, it's resetting. It's a very good mechanical shark. We've got different versions of a mechanical shark in that water since April of 1976, less than a year after Jaws came out. We added the attraction to the tour, and Steven Spielberg helped bring the attraction to the studio tour.
The Jaws ride was almost the inevitable result of the size of the box office when Jaws first opened in June of 1975. And that was really the first time I ever got involved in the creation of a ride. It was a great honor to be invited into a creative circle of tremendous designers at Universal that were trying to figure out how to replicate what the movie had done to audiences in a real way by building a physical shark that would come out of the water and terrify tourists as they were sitting in the tram. And the most amazing thing about the Jaws ride is it is exactly as it was from the time it was first placed on Universal lot. There have been tweaks, of course, over the years, but it is essentially what the designers and myself all envisioned and created.
Moving on, we're going to get into the suburban part of our backlot. We have a couple of fake suburban streets we use for filming. This first one on the left has a house with a green roof. The house closest to us was Boo Radley's house in the film To Kill a Mockingbird. Coming up on the right is the Chicken Ranch. And the main house in the Chicken Ranch is a practical set. Again, that means it's got a full interior for filming inside and out. Next on the left, we'll pass by the end of what was Wisteria Lane on Desperate Housewives. It's officially called Colonial Street. That's where the new series, The Burbs, starring Emmy winner Keke Palmer, has been doing a lot of its filming. The Burbs is an adaptation of a movie of the same name that also filmed on Colonial Street and starred Carrie Fisher and Tom Hanks. Next on the left, we've got picture cars for The Burbs. That's not a real delivery van and not a real sanitation truck. A picture car is a term for any vehicle ever featured on camera. And if you're filming something set on a suburban street, you would need vehicles like delivery vans and sanitation trucks going by in the background to make it believable. We're going to see some really famous picture cars in a few moments. First, though, we're now about 15 minutes from the end of the tour. We'll be returning to the theme park shortly. Remember to pull the emergency cord if you need assistance and remain seated at all times. This part of our backlot, it's sort of our version of the wilderness. We've left it natural, but it is used for filming the Netflix movie Bird Box, filmed by Sandra Bullock, as well as the TV series 911 with Angela Bassett. But if you are a fan of famous cars, you're going to want to get your recording devices out now if they're not already out. You're going to see a lot of really famous picture cars coming up on either side of the tram. So again, it's a broad term. A picture car is any vehicle featured on camera, but occasionally they become just as famous as the actors who drive them. On the left, we have the gyrosphere from Jurassic World and
Price Electronics are defunct electronics stores.
It's like the Fry's car, the guys.
And this is the defunct place.
Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets.
Yes, it's Price Electronics,
of course, we've got a lot
defunct
of Fast and Furious
places.
cars, as well as a Bumblebee from Transformers. Yeah, Bumblebee's here. On the right, that beautiful black and tan Duesenberg was featured in The Mummy Returns, starring Oscar winners Brendan Fraser and Rachel Weisz. Just around the corner from our picture cars is the scariest place on the back lot, in my opinion, the Bates Motel. This is where Norman Bates works. He's the title character from the film Psycho. Well, there's Norman Bates. He just came out of that room. Okay, we're gonna say bye-bye to Norman and let's go say hi to his mom. Up on the left is the Psycho house. It's the real house from the film. And Norman's mother's home. She's up on the second floor in her rocking chair. If you see her up there, give her a wave, blow her a kiss. She loves her fans. Oh! Just past the Psycho house, we're going to enter one of the largest sets in movie history from the film War of the Worlds, directed by Steven Spielberg. This is called the Crash Set. And yes, that is a real plane. It was a retired commercial 747.
That's fog.
Steven and production designer Rick Carter will talk a little more about the set.
That's fog. I see fog.
You're doing good. Thank you. Listen, I want you to close your eyes, okay? Now closed. Robbie, get in. Get in.
And again, that is a real plane. It was purchased for War of the Worlds for $60,000, chopped into pieces, and then shipped to the filming location to be used in the movie. The shipping costs were $200,000, more than the cost of the plane. But Steven Spielberg wanted the real thing. Now, another great filmmaker that we work with a lot at Universal is Oscar winner Jordan Peele with his films Get Out, Us, and most recently Nope, starring Keke Palmer and Daniel Kaluuya. And up next, we're going to check out sets from the movie Nope. In the world of the film, these sets are called Jupiter's Claim, and Jordan's going to tell us more about it.
Movie magic only happens when when a team of collaborators, often in the hundreds, work together to take an impossible mission and bring it to life. This is Jupiter's Claim, a nostalgic, small-time Southern California amusement park owned by former child star Ricky Jupe Park. Over there, look into the winking well and have your picture taken just like the kids in that old 90s movie Kid Share. That's what this whole place is loosely based on. Remember that one? No? No. What? A little further down, you can see the brand new Star Lasso experience, used to showcase an unbelievable new live show. It's not looking so live anymore. Anyway, behind this Hollywood fantasy of a gold rush frontier town lies a sinister secret. It is smack dab in the center of a UFO hotspot. What's a bad miracle? You're ready to find out. Welcome to the world of no.
Alright, we're going to head out of Jupiter's Claim. Up next, we're going to look at a big blue wall just up ahead to the right. The wall and the basin in front of it are called Falls Lake. Filmmakers use it to film scenes set in big bodies of water. Why go to a real body of water where you cannot control the elements when you can come to Falls Lake and control everything, and it'll look real in the finished film? So filmmakers will fill the basin with water, put their actors and their set pieces in. After filming, they'll use CGI, computer-generated imagery, to remove the blue color on the wall and digitally replace it with whatever they want in the far background, things like the horizon line, the sky, the clouds. We'll take a closer look at the film Sully, starring Tom Hanks, based on the true story of the airplane that landed in the Hudson River in New York City back in 2009.
Evacuate.
To recreate the Miracle on the Hudson, as it was called, filmmakers came to Falls Lake. They really put a plane out there in the water. The actors were really out there standing on the wings and jumping in the water. I know because I was here giving tours the day they filmed all of this. We could see everything from our perspective on the studio tour. It was pretty amazing. So in this shot on our screens, everything's real except the Manhattan skyline in the far background. That's the blue wall, but again, totally seamless in the finished film. And on that note, we're coming towards the end of our tour for today. On behalf of everybody at Universal Studios Hollywood, we hope you enjoyed your exclusive behind-the-scenes Hollywood access. Thank you to our past members for joining us. If you're not a past member, you can head to the Universal box office to see how you can upgrade to an annual pass so you can come back again and again. Come back next year for our new roller coaster, Fast and Furious Hollywood Drift. Universal movies and TV shows you've seen on the tour, visit uphe.com or ask today one of our retail stores. And while you're in the park, you can download the Universal Studios Hollywood app to confirm we're open till 7, check wait times, get mobile food ordering, and more. And for everybody who just finished their very first studio tour, you now have something in common with some big celebrities.
I've been on that tour so many times since I was a kid, and I just finally ever done it.
The first time I ever went on Universal lot, we did the tour.
I grew up in Los Angeles, and that was like the place to go and see Jaws.
I got my introduction to Universal Studios through the tour, and so then to be in the movies and seeing the trams drive by, it's very overwhelming.
One of the coolest things actually about shooting for Universal is sometimes you get to shoot on the lot, and then you look over and it's like there's Jaws, or like there's the flash flood, and all those trams are riding around. It's the coolest thing ever.
1979. Back then, tram drivers were kind of a little reckless these days. There was no restriction on cars going anywhere. We used to drive all over and kind of doing with them back and forth.
I have so many amazing memories of the lot when we were shooting Back to the Future.
Being here, back in time.
Tram would come through, the tourists would see Michael J. Fox, and they're taking the camera, snap, snap, snap. So one day, Michael J. Fox had his own camera, and every time the tourists came through to snap their pictures, he ran out and he started taking pictures.
And on that note, we're just about to exit in the plaza. Make sure you get all your personal belongings together before you exit. When you exit, you can throw your 3D glasses in the blue bins provided. Don't accidentally throw your sunglasses in the bins, though. That's an easy mistake to make, and once they're tossed in, it's hard to find them, so be careful. Please stay seated until we open the gates for you on the left. Again, my name is CJ. We're open till 7 o'clock, and as we say in Hollywood, you can't park here. Just kidding. As we say in Hollywood, that's a wrap. Thanks for coming, everybody. Have a great day.
Okay.